A student can get excellent grades for years and still have ADHD. That may sound strange, especially if you have a picture of ADHD as a kid who can't sit still, gets in trouble all the time, and is failing his classes. But ADHD doesn't always have to look like that. Sometimes it looks like a bright student who listens well enough in class, remembers a lot, and can pull everything together in the last minute. Maybe they get straight A's. Maybe their teachers say they're doing great. But behind those grades, something may be happening. They may procrastinate until the pressure becomes unbearable. They may need constant reminders from you. They may spend far longer on an assignment than anyone really realizes. They may understand the material but have trouble starting on their own. Or they may do very well in classes that interest them and seem completely unable to even begin in classes that don't. Good grades don't prove that a student has ADHD, and none of those patterns prove it either. ADHD has to be evaluated by a qualified healthcare professional. There isn't one behavior, one grade, or one simple test that diagnoses it. But good grades also don't rule it out. A bright student can compensate for a long time. Their intelligence may help them understand the material quickly. A parent may provide enough structure to keep assignments from falling apart. And last minute pressure may create just enough urgency for them to finally act. From outside, it looks like the student's system is working, but sometimes the student doesn't actually have a system. They have intelligence, pressure, people around them holding things together. Then they reach a class like chemistry. Chemistry doesn't just introduce new information, it introduces an entirely new symbolic language. A tiny change in a letter can completely change what it means. For instance, an uppercase K may represent equilibrium constant, while a lowercase k can represent a reaction rate constant. The letter Q can mean heat in one context, while Q can mean a reaction quotient in another. Then there are subscripts, superscripts, charges, coefficients, units, and symbols that all have to be interpreted correctly before a student can even begin the math. A student whose working memory is already overloaded, chemistry can feel like trying to translate a foreign language, solve an algebra problem, and remember several rules all at the same time. Chemistry is often the first class where raw intelligence stops being enough. Now they have to learn a new symbolic language, keep track of units and formulas, use algebra, follow several steps, and decide what to do when the problem doesn't look exactly like the problem in the example. They can understand every word the teacher says and still sit down alone with the homework and have no idea where to start. That doesn't automatically mean they have ADHD, but it may reveal difficulties with starting, organizing, holding several steps in mind, managing time, or recovering when they get stuck. And those patterns are worth paying attention to. So instead of asking only, are their grades good? I'd also ask, how much support does it take to produce those grades? Can they begin without repeated reminders? Can they plan ahead, or does everything happen under the last minute pressure? Can they work through confusion independently? And what is all of this costing them emotionally? The point isn't to put a label on your student. The point is to understand what you're actually seeing. Because a capable student shouldn't have to wait until they fail before we take their struggle seriously. In the next lesson, we'll look at why chemistry is so often the class where bright students' old ways of learning finally reaches its limit.